Hello everyone, welcome back to Relax with Animal Facts. I am Steph Wolf, and today I am going to be learning with you about our furry, scaly, or possibly even slimy friends. And in today's case, it is definitely going to be one of the slimy sort of variety because we're covering the vampire squid. Now, this is a very special listener episode dedicated to Kat, who messaged me on Instagram. For those of you that want to have your animal on the podcast, you could always either email me at relaxwithanimalfacts@gmail.com, or you could follow the Instagram Relax with Animal Facts and send me a private message. Either way is good for me. It really does not matter, whichever way is more convenient for you. So I'm very excited to get into today's short and sweet episode about the vampire squid, just because it seems so amazing already just by the name of it. Now, a couple of announcements. The first things being that I got my samples in for my merchandise. Now, if you are watching on YouTube, by the way, you can watch on YouTube as well. You'll be able to see me holding the cup up for you guys. It says Relax with Animal Facts on one side, and on the other side is our logo, and it just looks absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't be happier with it. I also received a pet hoodie that I ordered from my own website, and as it turns out, it's too small for my little Molly. So I figure what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a giveaway on Instagram for those of you with sort of medium-sized dogs or cats or whatever you'd like, and give away the hoodie because I have no use for it. I ordered the wrong size. So for more on that, you could follow the Instagram and see updates on that. So for those of you that aren't followed on Spotify already, go ahead and hit that follow button, as well as on Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or wherever you listen. Let's get right into today's show. So I got my facts from softschools.com. This is a facts website I've used maybe 2 or 3 times, and they seem to have credible stats, or not stats, but maybe more of of facts rather. They seem to have really good ones that I can rely on, so we're going to go with just them today entirely. Soft Schools, good job on this article that you did. I'm just going to take a quick drink of my tea here. This is some sort of a tangerine based tea of some sort. Wow, that is absolutely delicious. Now, so the first fact being that the vampire squid is a type of small cephalopod. Now, cephalopods are this class of animals known as cephalopoda, which means head feet, which is sort of interesting. I kind of see how they get that, because it's like the head is immediately attached to their little tentacles or feet, and other animals like octopus, cuttlefish, nautilus, and as of course in this case squid, are included in that cephalopoda class. Now, this animal can be found in temperate and tropical oceans all around the world and lives at a depth of about 2,000 to 3,000 feet at a temperature of 2 to 3 degrees Celsius for you, everyone else out there, but for you USA listeners, it is going to be about 35.5 Fahrenheit to 36. So fairly cool waters there, but not at that freezing point. And vampire squid were discovered at the beginning of the 20th century and was initially classified as octopus, of course, due to the similarities. And I'm sure this happens a lot among researchers. When they find a new species, they can immediately sort of relate it to another one. It's fairly uncommon, I think I would maybe that's not the right word to use. Maybe that's not the right word to say. It's uncommon to find a species that is so distinct that you can't relate it to other things, because I'm sure that there are animals like that. For the one that comes to mind for me is a blobfish. You know, those things, when you take them out of the deep pressures of the ocean, turn into mush, and it is just really incredible to see. What I'm trying to say here is that it is perhaps more common than we think that animals are classified as something other than they are, or before they're given their own sort of class. So in this case of the vampire squid, it was initially classified as an octopus due to the similarities, but eventually was not classified as an octopus. It was classified as a squid, its own species. And vampire squids appeared on the planet, get ready for this one, guys, 300 million years ago. Okay, 300 million years. It's hard to even imagine that sort of time frame, but 300 million years. So these guys are very prehistoric sort of animals. They've been along for the ride for a very long time. And this animal possesses numerous features which make it specific and unique compared to other squids. Unfortunately, warming of the ocean, pollution, and destruction of natural habitats negatively affect the number of remaining vampire squids in the ocean. So human sort of intervention for these guys might be needed. I suppose human intervention is what got them in their predicament to begin with, but I suppose the biggest thing that I try to do with the show is to educate you guys, while educating myself, of course, because I am by no means an authority on these subjects. I'm just a normal guy who loves animals and loves to talk about them. The main thing is to sort of spread awareness about it and learn to respect and love these animals, because they all have such amazing differences, but also some very amazing similarities, even when comparing to us humans. So that's exactly what I sort of aim to do. Now, the vampire squid can reach about 12 inches in length, which is fairly long, 12 inches, and it is black or reddish colored generally. So that is about the color you'd imagine a vampire squid to be. And it has 8 webbed arms. Let's remember here, guys, from the octopus episode, that these are not actually referred to as tentacles, but rather as arms. And each arm is equipped with spines that are called cirri, or kiri, I believe it's cirri, arranged in 2 rows. The bottom half is covered with those suckers that we all sort of attribute to many of these sort of species. And vampire squids have very large eyes. In fact, the largest eyes in the animal kingdom compared to the body size. Depending on the light, the eyes look like they are red or even blue colored. So that is fairly amazing. In the animal kingdom, I thought the eye to the body ratio would be given to maybe a lemur of some kind, because you've seen them before, even in kids' films when they're used in animation, they're always given these huge eyes. I would have imagined that it is exactly that, but that is not the case. It is the vampire squid that takes the gold medal here for eyes to body size. And vampire squids are named that way because of the black webbed skin shaped like a vampire cape and red eyes. So there you have it for these little guys here. So they're named vampire squid because they have this sort of cape that goes around them, and in this way vampires historically have, or not historically as if they exist, not to spoil anything for you guys, but in vampires in sort of this mythological sense have always been portrayed to have capes and different sorts of things and be associated with the color black and stuff like that. So in the case of the vampire squid, they are called vampire squid because of this. And vampire squids have white beak-like jaws, and their diet consists of copepods or sopapods, cnidarians, and other small invertebrates, and they eat only a couple of times per week. So unlike many other species that we've covered on the show, they do not need to constantly be eating, which is something that we see more among animals that like to consume vegetation, right? Less calorie-dense foods. So young vampire squids move by ejecting large amounts of water from a siphon, which is an organ that's located inside the mantle. Now, don't worry about these words like siphon, mantle. These are just things that we can use as a sort of a point of reference, just so we know what they're talking about. But you don't need to know where these things are. This is where you come to relax and to enjoy and to learn. So don't worry too much about that. But of course, if you're interested, you could always Google an anatomy vampire squid if you'd like. I very much encourage you to if you like to. So this type of movement is called jet propulsion. So jet propulsion is also a term that is used for certain watercrafts that we humans have, which is amazing. For example, the Sea-Doo or the jet ski uses a jet propulsion system, very similar to how this works in terms of having a siphon and a mantle and things like that. I'm not so sure, but I do know that jet propulsion systems, they're known as pleasure crafts, right? Pleasure watercrafts, such as jet skis, use this sort of propulsion system. So right there, we have a similarity between squids and not only humans, but human technology, something that was brought about from human innovation, which frankly is incredible to me. And I wonder if they got the jet ski. You got to wonder if they got the sort of propulsion system or the mechanism from squids. You never know. Maybe it is possible. And adult vampire squids use a pair of small fins located on the lateral sides of the mantle. Again, don't worry so much about the names here. To move. And they look like they fly through the water when they start flapping the fins. And the vampire squids can reach the speed of 2 body lengths per second. So these guys can move very quickly if they want to, if they feel like it. So almost the entire body of the vampire squid is covered with light-producing organs called photophores. And vampire squid produce light to attract prey and to distract predators as well. So this is something that I have seen before in other animals. For example, with that animal with the light on its head, that fish. I can't for the life of me remember what it's called. But these animals that possess these sort of luminescent properties, right? It's something known as bioluminescence. And we can see that among a few species. It is not all that common, but it does happen. And I very much did not know that the vampire squid possessed that. So I learned so much today about the vampire squid, a lot more than I thought. I thought I knew some stuff about the vampire squid already coming into it, but turns out there's always room to learn so much stuff. Now, unfortunately, I already ruined the ending, which is why is the vampire squid named the vampire squid. But don't worry, next episode we're going to have a new animal, and this time I'm going to try my best to save it till the very, very end. Sometimes I do get ahead of myself, but today what I tried to do was to pace myself a little bit better, talk a little bit more slowly. I actually have some jazz music in the background in an earbud that I'm listening to, and it seems to help with my pacing a little bit. So if you guys like this form of pacing, you can send me a message on Instagram. You can email me at relaxwithanimalfacts.com. Do whatever you'd like and let me know. Give me feedback, guys. I want to get better. I want to be better at making you relax. So by all means, do what you guys want to do. So this was the end of today's episode of the Vampire Squid. Again, thank you so much, Kat, for recommending this animal for all of us here in the podcast family to learn together. For those of you that are still awake, I hope you have a very good night's sleep. For those of you that are just in the middle of the day, I hope you have a good day. Wherever you are, I wish you all the best. And all of you guys, I will see you on the next podcast episode with the next animal. Take care.